And so I want to start living the life that I want to live now. If you're like me, say yes. Okay, good. So I want the thing that's fastest. I'm like, get it to me yesterday. Let's go. And I consider this work ultra concentrated Tide with bleach. Everyone saying, do that with me? Ultra concentrated Tide with bleach. It gets your whites whiter, it gets your colors brighter. And so how many of you would like to have your colors brighter? Say yes. So I love this work because it's done it so quickly for me, and it's afforded me to be able to build a company that went to 6 figures in like a year. And so, all right, so that was the entree. So everybody please stand. We're going to do another little digestion move. I'm going to teach you another move, which is called the finger fold. Now, go ahead and crisscross your fingers the way you normally would. Crisscross your hands the way you normally would, and notice which hand is dominant. The hand that's dominant is the finger that's on top. So either right hand dominant or left hand dominant. Now, whichever thumb is on top. I'm sorry, did I say finger? I meant thumb. So if your right thumb's on top, your right hand dominant, left thumb on top, left hand dominant. So now, you're going to re-crisscross your hands, not just changing the thumbs, but change all of them. Change the order of all of them. Yeesh, feels really weird, doesn't it? You probably never go there. Here's the thing. Doing that movement back and forth sends different electrical signals across the corpus callosum, which is the bridge between the two hemispheres, and it resets your brain. It's like pushing the reset button on your computer, letting it go to sleep and wake back up again. So go ahead and do that. Turn around to your tribes. We need some music for this. And for those of you that could chew gum and walk at the same time, walk in place while you do this and dance in your little tribes. And while the handouts are being handed out, who has a question? Sometimes, but usually not. So if you're adopted, we usually, well, let me reverse that for a minute. If you have a stepfather or somebody that's married in, usually not. Not always the case, but usually not. If you're adopted, I have you answer the questionnaire on your blood side of the family tree, if you know anything about it, and then your adopted side of the family tree, because sometimes adopted people do pick up on their adopted family's entanglements. Yeah, who else can relate to that? You're pretty aware, and yet you're still kind of struggling? I'm very aware, and I'm still struggling. What the? Turn to your neighbor and say, what the? So, here's the thing about subconscious work. Awareness is the first step on the path to change. Oh, the question is, what happens when you're really aware and you know yourself really well and you even kind of know some of your family entanglements maybe, and it's still not shifting? Beat yourself up. Yeah, that's what happens. You beat yourself up. And awareness is the first step to change. It is not the last step to change. Awareness is the first step. You do need to have it, and you do need to do it. And just the awareness itself begins the process of change work. It begins to loosen those tangles, but it is not the change work. Does that make sense? Awareness is the first step to the change. It is not necessarily the change itself. Subconscious work needs subconscious work tools. So you want to use the right tools for the right work. You would not take a, what do they say, a square peg into a round hole, right? You wouldn't take a, pardon me, you wouldn't take a hammer to a screw. Wrong tool for the part. So you don't want to try to clean out your subconscious patterning with conscious mind tools. Wrong tool. A lot of you, what you've been educated in is conscious mind tools. Subconscious mind tools, whole nother story. And the thing about subconscious mind tools is you got to be careful. Number one, you can't really do it on yourself. Not that well. I've tried. You can do a little bit of it if you're pretty well, versed and educated. Two, you don't want to go messing around with your subconscious if you're not very good at it. You don't want to just hand that over to somebody who isn't extremely, just isn't, experienced at it. Because you could cross some wires, it's not super dangerous, it's just still, you don't want to mess things up in there. You don't want a person who's not a mechanic opening up the hood to your car and just kind of like moving things around and being like, okay, that looks pretty good, go ahead. So you want someone with experience doing that. Because like I said, this is 90% of your results. Do you want somebody inexperienced messing around with 90% of your results? Not really. So that's the difference that makes the difference. Awareness is the first step, but it is not the change work itself. This weekend, we're going to be doing the change work itself. If you're excited about that, say yes. Yes. All right, good. And thank you so much again for playing along with all the accelerated learning. It makes it really fun, and it keeps you able to actually learn more. So here we go. This is already written down on your pages there. On the next page, it's called Types of Entanglements. I'm just going to go zippy through this. The first kind I'm going to share with you, first type of entanglement, is called the no permission for connection. No permission for what? Connection. Thank you. No permission for connection. Here's some of the symptoms you would notice in your own life. So these are not the originating incidences. Wow. I was trying not to clear my throat into the mic to not hurt your ears, and I hurt your ears anyways. So, no permission for connection. This is not the originating incidents. Okay, this is not how you find the originating incidents for no permission for connection. The originating incident is the first ancestor or relative that starts the entanglement pattern. They're the one that went through some kind of trauma or tragedy around money or business, relationship, or health. This that I'm going to teach you now is the signs and symptoms you look for in your own life that show you that you have an entanglement. This is what I look for when I'm working with you. Do you exhibit some of these signs? No permission for connection, what I look for is, do you tend to spend a lot of time alone? Not because you want to, it just seems to happen. Another sign, are you overwhelmed a lot? Overwhelmed usually means you don't have enough support around you, and not having support around you is often the effect of having a no permission for connection entanglement. Being a workaholic. Sometimes you think, oh no, I like to work a lot. But the thing about working a lot is that it prevents you from having time to connect with other people. So workaholism can actually be the effect of a no permission for connection entanglement. Not getting enough customers. Business thrives, and a business thrives when people feel like they can connect to you. And people buy from you, whatever your service or product, when they feel like they can connect with you. And if you have a no permission for connection entanglement, people are just going to feel like they can't quite connect. You may not notice it, but they'll notice that they just can't quite connect. And it'll block your sales. It'll block your ability to grow. Trouble in relationships. If you notice that you struggle in relationships a lot, that there's a lot of kind of bickering or fighting, or that you attract the same person in different clothes, maybe with a different face, over and over again, no permission for connection entanglement. And here's how it gets tricky. Either you might notice that you feel afraid to get hurt or afraid of intimacy and you don't want to fully connect. Or here's how I notice it happening a lot. You feel fine to connect.